Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. 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 Jaya Jaya Ram. Jaya Jaya Ram. Om Ramaya Ramabhadraya Ramachandraya Vedhase Raghunathaya Nathaya Sitaya Pataye Namaha. Om Shri Ramachandraya Namaha. Atulita Baladhamam Hemashailaabhadeham Danujavana Krishanum Jnaninam Agraganyam Sakala Gunanidhanam Vanaranamadhisham Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatan Namami. Raghupati Priya Bhaktam Vatajatan Namami. Om Shri Hanumate Namaha. Om Dhyayami Chinmayanandam Gurudevam Mahamatim Prema Purnam Kriyashilam Sada Lokahite Ratam Kripalum Sundarakaram Samartham Satyadarshinam Vacha Tattva Prakashinya Shoka Moha Vinashinam. Om Shri Chinmaya Sadgurave Namaha. Om Namah Shri Tulsi Dasa Sadvarishtaya Dhimate Puritam Hridayam Yena Rama Premamrite Name. Om Shri Tulsi Dasaya Namaha. Hari Om, a very, very warm welcome to this new series. And in this series, lot of wonderful things are going to happen. We will see. In the previous session, we saw Mata Sita ji. She was repeatedly gazing at Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. Dekhi dekhi Raghubira tana Suramanava dharidhira. And she derived lot of courage. Bhare bilochana prema jala. Her eyes was filled with tears. It would not trickle down, but it was filled. At the same time, it was filled with lots of love for Bhagavan ji and lot of prayers. Pulakavali sarira. By looking at him, her entire body, would experience that sense of horripilation. That sense of, so much of joy. Now see, when we pray, there are three types of people who pray. One is a type who say, who Bhagavan, whoever is the ultimate Lord, from their own standpoint, they should come to realize that Bhagavan is no other than Ramchandraji. But then right now, they say, Bhagavan, may Ramchandraji gain maximum strength and ability to lift the bow and break it. Now please understand, this particular prayer, they never made while the other Rajas were coming and trying to lift the bow. Nobody prayed. It was never mentioned anywhere. In any of the Ramayana also, it is not mentioned. Nobody prayed when they just watched from a distance who could be karke. But the moment when Ramchandraji came, everybody started praying, oh Bhagavan, may he gain the strength to lift the bow. This is one type of prayer. The second type of prayer is, oh Bhagavan, now look at this very beautiful difference. May the bow become light so that Ramchandraji could easily handle. The first variety is, may Ramchandraji's strength improve to such an extent he lifts the bow. The other one says, let the bow become lighter so that Ramchandraji could lift the bow. Both have one intention. One, Ramchandraji should lift the bow. And there is a third variety. Most of all of us fall in this third category. Oh God, let there not be any issue. Remove all the problems. Isn't it? Even in our life we pray, Bhagavan, eradicate all my problems. I want to be happy. This is the second variety. First variety is, Bhagavan, let the problems come, but give me strength to face them. This is what is the appropriate prayer which all of us should have. Let the problems come. Life means pairs of opposites. What are pairs of opposites? Sukha, dukkha, ninda, stuti, labha, nashta. All these are all pairs of opposites, and both are required. In fact, both together is called life. So, problems will come. Problems will never get eradicated. Remember and be clear about this. Don't think if I pray, then Bhagavan will remove all the problems, then I can march. No. No life is a bed of roses. See, Rama, think of Krishna. When he was born in a jail. And his father had to take him in a basket on his head and walk through that river where it is, it is in flux. This river is on spate. And in that he has to take Krishna to the other shore. When he goes to the other shore, so all through his life he has to face one or the other problems only. Majorly all Rakshasas. Think. So even his life was not very happy. What Rama's life we are going to see. We already know. We are seeing that's a different issue. But generally, by and large, all of us know Bhagavan Sri Ramchandraji's life. Full of issues only. So, when Ramchandraji, Lakshmanji, and what to talk of Shivaji, all of them have faced lot of issues. Therefore, nobody is spared. Right? Even when Bhagavan himself had to face issues, who are you and me? Therefore, issues cannot be eradicated. But what is the prayer we should have? Let me gain the strength. Give me the strength to face the issue and become successful. Let me cross those river of issues and then reach the other shore of happiness. And definitely there are people, weak-minded people are there. Bhagavan, remove all the problems. These are all ways of prayers. And here also we find people praying in their own way. But the ultimate destination, ultimate end, what they want is Bhagavan Ramchandraji should lift the bow and break it and get married to Sita ji. Tulsidasi continues in the 258th Chaupai. नीके नीरखी नयन भरी शोभा पितु पनु सुमिरी बहुरी मनु क्षोभा अहह तात दारुनि हट ठानी समुझत नहीं कछु लाभु नहानी सचिव सभय सिख देई न कोई बुध समाज बड़ अनुचित होई कह धनु कुली सहु चाहि कठोरा कह श्यामल मृदुगात किशोरा विधि के ही भांति धरौं रधीरा सिरस समुन कन बेधिया हीरा सकल सभा कै मति भय भोरी अब मोहि शंभु चाप गति तोरी निज जड़ता लोगन पर डारी होहि गरुवर रघुपति ही निहारी अति परिताप सिय मन माही लवनिमेष जुग सय समजाही प्रभु ही चितई पुनि चितव मही राजत लोचन लोल खेलत मनसि जमीन जुग जनु बिधु मंडल डोल सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। नीके नीरखी नयन भरी शोभा। सीता जी, Tulsidas says, she feasted her eyes. She enjoyed and filled her heart with the very form of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji, the very beauty of Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. Pitu panu sumiri bahuri manu chobha. Then suddenly her thought came. What? About her father. And immediately her mind became agitated. Manu Chobha, it became very restless. It became agitated. Why? Even though she had the joy of seeing Ramchandra ji's beauty and she filled Ramchandra ji in her heart, but that vow of her father brought a lot of agitations to her mind. Ahah tat daruni hatatani. She said, what unintelligent decision my father have made. What a terrible resolve my father have made by putting that vow. What is that vow? The one who breaks the vow alone can get married to Sita. Why? Samujhat nahi kachu labhu nahani. He never realized what are the pros and cons of such a vow. What are the advantages and disadvantages of taking such a vow. We also, I might probably bring a thought here. Very many of us take a lot of resolutions, and very interestingly, we always fix a date. New Year resolution, Ramanavami resolution, Krishnashtami resolution, Shivaratri resolution. These resolutions are very interesting. Every year you take the same resolution, but it actually never happens. So we need to understand what is a resolution. Resolution is a sankalpa that I take to work towards it till it is achieved. Whatever may be the resolution. So we have to take a resolution. And while we take the resolution, we must consider the advantages and the disadvantages, the possibilities and impossibilities, my capabilities and my incapabilities. Think. All these things we must consider and then take a proper resolution. And once we resolve, we must stick to that resolution. That is what is called as sankalpa. We must take care. Now here, Sita ji is worried. Why did he not think of all the advantages and disadvantages? Sachiva sabhaya sika deyi na koi. And the ministers, Sachiva, Sabhaya, they are very, very afraid. Therefore, they never went near Janaka and advised him. They did not go to advise him. Why? Because of the fear of the Raja. Raja is Sarvadhikari, isn't it? And he can take any resolution. The ministers are there to see that is taken care, that the resolution is successful. The ministers are meant for that, to take forward the resolution, whatever he had made, if it is meant for everybody. If it is meant for him, he has to take a resolution, he has to work towards it. Now, even the ministers are afraid to talk to him. Why don't do that? Like that, nobody could tell him. Buddha samaja bada anuchita to hoi. And the more pitiable thing is, even Buddha samaja, men who are wise, not otherwise, men who are wise, W-I-S-E, not V-I-C-E. We must take care. Even they could not do anything because it is Maharaja Sankalpa. Kahadhanu kulisaha, kahadhanu kulisahu chahi kathora. While one side, the bow is very, very heavy. It's very hard to even lift. It's very difficult to even lift. Kaha syamala mridugata kisora. Kaha, that bow which is so heavy and difficult to lift. Kaha syamala mridugata kisora. Where is Ramchandraji, who is dark complexioned? Mridugata, who is very, very soft. And Kisora, his teenager, he is such a young boy. How can he lift that? This one. There is one, I don't remember that. Shyamala Komala Ram. There's one very beautiful song. Shyamala and Komala Rama. Very, very soft, very, young and beautiful Rama. Bidhi ke hi bhati dharaur dhira. Said, oh God, when the bow is heavy and Ramchandraji is so young and very soft, and my mind is so agitated because of the vow my father has taken, oh God, how then can I bring balance in my mind? Dharaur dhira. How can my heart be calm and quiet? Sirasa sumana kana bedhiya hira. It is something like, diamond. Diamond is the hardest metal, isn't it? It is the hardest metal. Among all the metals, diamond is the hardest. It is like a sharp diamond piercing into the softest flower. He gives an example, Shirsa flower, which is considered to be the most softest flower, and that diamond piercing this flower. Think how kathora it should be. Sakala sabha kai mati bhai bhori. The entire assembly, people who are sitting to witness this particular activity, this particular event, all of their minds became dull. Why? Because they have seen all the other Rajas failing. Very, very ghatanugati, it is said. Very powerful emperors, powerful princes, powerful Rajas, all of them have come and tried, and none of them could lift. What can this Mridubalaka do? Abamohi sambhu chapagati tora. And then she thinks, my only hope is with Shambhu Chapa, is with the bow of Mahadeva, Shambhu. Therefore she says, Nija jadata logana paradari. Hey Bhagavan, Nija jadata. Jadata here refers to the heaviness of the bow. Nija jadata, let it go to all the people in the assembly. Ho hi haruva raghupati nihari. At the same time, let that bow. She is talking to the bow. Oh bow, you reduce yourself, all your heaviness, jadata, you give it to all the people in the crowd. And then you become light, so that Sri Ramchandraji could easily, comfortably, conveniently take and break. Ati paritapa siya manamahi. Siya ati paritapa. In her heart, she was so very agitated. Lavanimesha jugasayam samajahi. Even lavanimesha, that is the fraction of a second or fraction of a minute, we may say. It became like yugas. In the, I would also share, when we were all watching this Ramayana, I will tell you my thought. When Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana was being screened, I'm sure you would have seen, you can also see it is available in the YouTube. First, the cameraman shows Sitaji perplexed. She shows Janaka, Maharaja, his tears are filled. 1 or 2 drips of tears also are trickling down. He shows Vishwamitraji, who is calm and smiling, composed. He shows Lakshmanji, who is very, very agitated, who is furious, and things like that. And he also shows the whole Janta. Everybody were so perplexed. What is going to happen? And then he also shows Ramchandraji. Like Vishwamitraji, Ramchandraji also. Beautiful smile, handsome personality, wonderful, exposition. And then he's beautiful, calm and quiet, well composed. So many varieties of feelings are being shown. And in the process, people like me would say, Re Baba, Corona, what are you waiting for? How many times will you show? And that too, not once. He will show some 3-4 times the same thing, same faces. And Rama turning from this side to that side, he will slowly turn. And the cameraman also will slow down a little. And then slowly he will turn, seeing. We get purple, we get very. That was the involvement all people had while that Ramayana serial was going on. And that is exactly how even the people who were there, they were feeling. And Sitaji, she was feeling as though it was yugas going. She wanted that to happen. Prabhu hi chitai puni chitava mahi. Now Bhagavan, he gazed, or rather Sitaji, she gazed on the Lord again. Rajatalochana lola. Her restless eyes was fully filled with water. At the same time, because of the tear in her eye, the eyes were glowing. The glow of the eyes were spreading. Khelata manasi jamina juga. Just as the fishes, when they are moving here and there, here and there, here and there, like that, he gives one difficult example, which is, very difficult to correlate. He says the orb of the moon, Janu Bidhu Mandala Dola. Frankly speaking, giving with due respects, I might not have understood this very clearly, but the only thought comes to my mind is, in the moon, you will find, if you see the moon properly, you will find 2 fishes-like structure there. It's a little darker spots there, appearing like fishes. Now the fishes in the pond also, they don't go very often very straight. They keep on moving. Similarly, Ramchandraji's eyes were also moving. Sitaji's eyes also were moving. There was so much of restlessness. People's eyes were also moving. And then Tulsidasi continues. गिरा आलिनी मुख पंकज रोकी प्रगटन लाज निसा अवलोकी लोचन जलुरह लोचन कोना जैसे परम कृपन कर सोना सकुची व्याकुलता बड़ी जानी धरि धीर जो प्रतीति उर आनी तन मन बचन मोर पनु साचा रघुपति पद सरोज चितुराजा तौ भगवानु सकल उर बासी करिहि मोहि रघुबर कै दासी जेहि के जेहि पर सत्य सनेहु सोते ही मिलई न कछु संदेहु प्रभु तन चितई प्रेम तन ठाना कृपा निधान राम सबु जाना सियहि बिलोकित के उधनु कैसे चितव गरुरु लघु ब्याल ही जैसे लखन लखेऊ रघुवंश मणि ताकेऊ हर कोदंडो पुलकी गात बोले बचन चरण चापी ब्रह्मांडु सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। गिरा आलिनी मुख पंकज रोकी। He held Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra Ji's Rupa in her eyes, in her, lotus eyes. And what a beautiful example. Pragatana laja nisa avaloki. A beautiful comparison is given. An anecdote is given. What is that? The lotus, when it opens up in the morning, it brings beauty to the entire world and entire people who see that lotus. There was a bee who went towards the lotus at the fag end of the day, at the Sandhya Kala. Almost now the lotus is going to close itself. At that time the bee goes and sits there and the lotus closes itself. As though the bee has got locked inside the lotus. Lochana jaluraha lochana kona. It was as though Sita ji's eyes was filled with Ramchandra ji, and she mentally probably must have held him in her heart without allowing him to go. As though Lochana jaluraha, tears remained in her eyes. Raha lochana kona, in the corner of her eyes, 1 or 2 drops of tears was there, which was indicating the manasthiti of Sita ji. How her heart was filled with Ramchandra ji, her eyes were filled with the Rupa of Ramchandra ji, and both together her emotions are pouring out, is trying to come out, and they are indicated by the tear that is at the corner of her eyes. Jaise parama kripana karasona. It doesn't want to come outside. She doesn't want to leave it outside also. How? Just as a miserly man, he doesn't want to give away a small piece of gold. How he packs inside, how he stores inside, locks one small putty in that one ring, let us say diamond ring or gold ring, then that box into another box, that box into another box, that box into a safe box, that safe box into an almara, and that almara is double locked. Similarly, Sita ji has kept Bhagavan Ramchandra ji in her heart, his rupa in his eyes, and the tear doesn't want to leave it outside. So beautiful. Sakuchi byakulata badi jani. Sita ji suddenly felt ashamed. Why? She perceived her great disturbance in her mind, that agitations of the mind. Vyakulata, badi jani. She immediately came to realize, and she felt a little ashamed. Dhari dhiraju pratiti ura ani. Immediately she kind of shook herself, and then she brought lot of confidence. All her courage she brought to herself. And then, this is very important. See, in our life also, whenever lot of disturbing situations come, most of us fall down. Most of us are as though collapse. And some people even go to the extent of committing suicide. These are all certain places where we come to understand how we should handle that terrible situation. What do we do? Dhari dhiraju pratiti ura ani. She brought courage, and she confidently brought in that, what do you call it as? Mental attitude, that positivity. Yeah, I keep telling. PMA, many of the cars have got behind. I repeat this example. It's nothing wrong in repeating an example if it has not come to you earlier. At least now let that thought come to you. Positive mental attitude, PMA, a phrase in the management science. That is exactly what she did. She brought in that positive mental attitude, which also, please note, which also brought in some confidence. The more positive you are, the more confident you are. The more confident you are, the less are the agitation. The less agitations, the clearer the mind. The clearer the mind, quieter the mind. Quieter the mind, sharper is the intellect think. This is exactly what brought Sita ji. She brought her mind with lot of confidence, and that confidence brought that clarity in her mind. She probably started thinking, why am I doubting Bhagavan? Where is this doubt coming from about Ramchandra ji? He will win, nothing to worry. And then, Tana mana bachana mora panusacha Raghupatik pada saroja chituracha. She said, Hey Bhagavan. Now remember, she is talking to the bow. Hey Bhagavan. If my love towards Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji is true, Tana mana bachana, thought, word and deed, if my love is true towards Ramchandra ji, towards Raghupati here means, here very clearly said it, Raghupati pada, to the feet of Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji. Saroja Chituraja, when my love is attached to Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji, may it constantly be there. At the lotus feet of Bhagavan Ramchandra ji. Tau Bhagavan Sakala Urabasi. Oh God, you are there who is dwelling in the heart of everybody. You know my heart. I don't have to even tell you. Karihi mohi Raghubar kai dasi. Please give the strength to Ramchandra ji. Let him do the needful and make me his servant. She never says, you make me his wife. No. Dasi, Raghubar kai dasi. May I be even the servant, but let me be with him. Jehi ke jehi par satya sanehu. And for whom cherishes that true love. So tehi milai na kachu sandehu. Then there is no doubt. Let there may not be any doubt that he says, Bhagavan is kind. He is Kripalu. He will definitely unite me with my beloved Lord Bhagavan Shri Ram. Prabhutan chitai prematan thana kripa nidhana Ram sabujana. He says, even at the cost of my life, I will want to resolve only to love Bhagavan, Ramchandraji, nobody else. And Kripa Nidhana Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji, who is an ocean of compassion, Sabujana, he knows everything, he understood everything. Siyahi bilo ki take udhanu kaise. Ramchandraji, he turned towards Sita ji, and at the same time he looks at Sita ji and he turns and looks at the bow. Remember how we saw the serial? The cameraman turns towards Sita ji and the cameraman turns towards Ramchandra ji and turns towards the bow. So Ramchandra ji first saw Sita ji and then he saw the bow. You know how it was? It was like an eagle which was flying very high, not like the other birds which can go only up to a distance. Eagle can fly very high, and when it flies very high, the lochana is so sharp that it can even see the smallest snake, very tiny snake, little snake. It can see, and it's dive deep into it and straight goes and attacks the snake. That is the confidence the eagle has got. It was like that. He saw Sita ji and he also saw the bow. Lakhana lakheura gubam samani take vohara kodandu. Kodandu means kodanda, that bow. When Lakshmana saw that Raghuvamsha, Bhagavan Shri Ramchandra ji, has cast a glance on the kodanda, Pulaki gata bole bachana, he was also horripilated. It was such a, when certain things, you can't explain with words, but then we try to explain, but that is actually not the experience. Everybody felt that, goosebump, we say, that horripilation. Charana chapi brahmandu. You know what he did? He pressed the earth strongly under his feet. Why? Lakshmanji thought, now when that danda, bow, dhanush, when it is going to be broken, it is going to create so much of havoc. So many, we see even in the serial. Why I use the serial is because at least some kind of example we can have to communicate. Therefore I use the serial. But the truth must have been multi-million times far more higher than what they could show in the serial or what I could express. He thought, when the bow is being broken, even huge mountains will break open, sea will shoot high, maybe a tsunami might come. Therefore, he pressed the earth tight and said, keep quiet. Look at Lakshmana's confidence. That definitely Ramchandraji will break the bow. Now, please note, when Lakshmana tells the earth, he is talking not from the standpoint of Sheshanaga, but from the standpoint of the Virat Rupa. Remember, we discussed this earlier. So, from the standpoint of Virat Rupa, Lakshmana now speaks. What does he say? Disi kunjarahu kamatha ahikola dharahu dharani dhari dhira nadola Ramu chahi sankar dhanu tora ho sajaga suni aya sumora chapa samipa ramu sab aaye nara nari nasura sukrita manaye सब कर संसवु अरु अज्ञानो मंद महीपन कर अभिमानु भृगुपति केरि गरब गरु आई सुरमुनि बरन केरि कदराई सिय कर सोचु जनक पछितावा रानी न कर दारुण दुख दावा शंभु चाप बड़ बोहितु पाई छड़े जाई सब संगु बनाई राम बाहुबल सिंधु अपारु चहत पारु नहीं कोउ घट कढ़ारू राम बिलो के लोग सब चित्र लिखे से देखी चितई सीय कृपायतन जानी बिकल विशेषी सियावर रामचंद्र की जय पवन सुत हनुमान की जय उमापति महादेव की जय बोलो भाई सब संतन की जय सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। दिसि कुंजरहु कमठ अहिकोला धरहु धरनि धरि धीर न डोला। He says, O Dikpalakas, and the elephants who are guarding the ends, all the ends, it is called as what? Cardial points, it is said. Dik. Kamatha means tortoise, turtle. O divine turtle. Ahi means serpent king, Nagaraja. Ahi. Kola means boar, B-O-A-R, boar. Dharahi dharani dhari dhirana dola. He is telling everybody, hold the earth properly, firmly, that it may not shake when Ramchandraji is lifting the bow. Ramu chahahi sankara dhanu tora. And Ramchandraji seeks Shankara Dhanu Tora. When he takes the bow of Shankara to break, Ho sahaja suni aya sumora. Now listen to my command carefully. As a Virat Purusha, Lakshmanji is talking to the entire cosmos. Therefore, Ho sahaja suni. Listen carefully to my command. And be ready. Be ready. Chapa sameepa Ram abu aaye. Then, when Ramchandraji slowly walked and came near the bow, Nara narina sura sukrita manaye. All the men and women who were seated there. Now see, it was such a beautiful experience. It was a wonderful, situation happening when Ramchandraji walks near this one. Every single person sitting in the audience, all of them experienced that goosebumps. All of them experienced that horrifying situation. And all of them invoked Bhagavan's grace. They said, Oh Bhagavan, please, all of you, come and be present here. Help Bhagavan Ramchandraji. Whatever past good deeds, whatever we all have done, we will all, give it up for this particular. Take away all our punya karma, but make the bow very light. Or make Bhagavan Ramchandraji very strong. Sab kar samsavu aru agyanu. Now see, it's a very, very beautiful thought here. There is an imaginary, please note, there is an imaginary metaphor as though is being presented here. What is that? The bow which is heavy is taken like a ship, similar to a ship. And who are there in the ship? Now that is being beautifully discussed. That ship is filled with what? Sabakara samsavu aru ajnanu. Everybody's doubts and ajnana, ignorance about what? About the glory of Bhagavan Ramchandraji. They have doubts on Ramchandraji. They are ignorant of the nature of Ramchandraji. Therefore, all of them is very heavy. See, whenever our minds are burdened, what do we say? I am having a heavy heart. Did you put some boulder on your head or on your heart? No. When there is agitation, when there are disturbances in the mind, when there is confusion in the mind, the whole mind becomes so heavy. Bhara. Heavy mind, heavy heart, etc., etc., we say. Now this bow is becoming heavy because of Nara, Narina, Sura, Sukrita Manaye. All of them, their, Sabakara Samsavu Aru Ajnano, all of their Samshaya and all of their Ajnana about Ramchandraji is filled in that ship, which represents the bow. Manda Mahipana Kara Abhimanu, all the arrogance. We also saw there are so many kings and princes who are very arrogant, who cannot understand the truth behind Ramchandraji, who think they are everything and they have miserably failed. We have seen that also. All of their arrogance is in the ship. So it is more heavier. Bhrigupati Keri Garaba Garuai. Bhrigupati. Parashurama, Bhrigupati. And his pride, Parashurama had very strong pride. We will see when that particular, this one comes, we will see about, when an occasion comes, I will explain about Parashurama more. But now, Parashurama was full of pride in a manner. That pride, he almost cleared the entire clan of Kshatriyas, we know. Isn't it? And then he went into tapas, and his tapobhala is very, very strong. And he had that pride in him. Manda mahipakara abhimanu bhrigupati kari garaba garuai sura muni barana keri kadarai. And all the gods and sages, even they had lot of apprehensions, which I should only call it as cowardliness. They all should not have an apprehension about Ramchandraji. But however, because of their cowardliness, they had a lot of apprehensions. Siyakara sochu janaka pachitava. The Siyakara sochu, the distress which Sitaji had, that heavy mind also is on the ship. And Janaka Pachitava, Janaka's repentance. Why did I make this vow? He has been repenting from the beginning when all the kings have failed. From that time he has started repenting. Why did I make this vow? Now that Sankalpa is made, I cannot step back also. If I step back, people will make fun of me. If I continue to keep the vow, Sitaji may not get married also. Why? Nobody can lift the bow. So his repentance, that heavy heart which he is carrying, that is also is in the ship. Raninakara daruna dukhadava, the queen's agony. Raninakara daruna dukha, that agony which is strong fire like, as though even that agony is in that ship. Sambhu chapa bada bohitupai. All these put together made the chapa very, very, very burdened, very, very heavy. And this great bow of Shambhu is there without anybody being or having capacity to lift. Chade jai sab sango banai. And everybody who tried to go and take the bow, nobody could ever do it. This particular ship would never cross the river because of its weight, because of its burden. Similarly, the Sambhu Chapu, nobody could lift because of the weight of all these put together. Rama Bahubala Sindhu Aparo. But Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji's strength of his arm, Sindhu Aparu, is very, very, very strong, like the ocean of strength all put together. Chahata paru nahi kovu kadharu. In this particular ship, as though, which is carrying so much of burden, as though there is no captain. Therefore, the ship has no direction. Now, Rama below ke loga saba. Rama below ke loka saba. He looked at all of the people there. Chitra likhe se dekha. And how did he see them? It is as though the entire drishya. I had remember I had given one example of our Mysore palace, where the beautiful paintings are there, so marvelous. All of you should come. I welcome all of you to come to Mysore, and even if you don't see me, it doesn't matter. Go to the palace and look at the beautiful painting. There the reference was different. Here the reference is different. The reference here is just as the picture, nothing moves, even a single millimeter, nothing moves. People were like that, completely awestruck, and not a single person would ever move. Chitra likhe se dekhi. He saw them as though like a picture, not moving at all. Chitai siya kripayatana. Kripayatana. He immediately turned towards Sita. Jani bikala biseshi. He could see the distress of Sitaji. He could see the pain in the heart of Sitaji. He could see that, heavy heart in Sitaji, and waiting, when will I get Bhagavan Shri Ramchandraji? When will Bhagavan take the bow and break it? Therefore, probably Ramchandraji looked at Sitaji and communicated, tomorrow. Alright, tomorrow we will meet and see what happens in that beautiful stadium. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sadgurunath Maharaj ki Jai.